Project Maven, integrating satellite photographs of your home, of your car, of your movements, pinpointing your geolocation, keeping track of your data, meaning what are your habits? When do you go for your bike ride? When do you walk to the store? When do you walk your dog? Where do you walk your dog? You can see that might be important if somebody wanted to, let's say, NATO Gladio murder you, right? Wouldn't it be good to have that kind of intelligence in your dossier? That's what these people are doing. This is a 100% military operation. Project Maven, question mark. United States Department of Defense Project Maven is at the epicenter of the American artificial intelligence military efforts. This initiative uses machine learning to identify personnel and equipment, streamlining the process once painstakingly carried out by human analysts. Those pesky human analysts are going to be replaced by machine-to-machine artificial intelligence learning, what the Juxtaposition Channel refers to as the HAL 9000 supercomputer. Let me continue. The Maven Smart System fuses various data sources from satellite imagery, geolocation data, communications intercepts into a unified interface for battlefield analysis. Does that sound like using Strava to keep track of your bicycle rides? Does that sound like using a Garmin computer when you go out to do a bike ride? Does that sound like a Fitbit when you go for a run? Does that sound like wearing a heart rate monitor so that you can be traced and tracked? Does that sound like hacking into your emails and your text messaging and your downloads of digital photographs? Does that sound like hacking into your computer and looking at the keystrokes that you type in with your fingertips into your keyboard, which would be an Eric Schmidt program at Novell, WordPerfect, called Looking Glass, Keyhole. It was to hack into the keystrokes of word processing software. That's what WordPerfect was, right? It was word processing software, but it came under the military heading of Looking Glass, Keyhole, looking into what you're doing on your computer. Right. It's kind of like backdoor, undisclosed backdoor operations. That was called Keyhole and Looking Glass. But here we have Project Maven integrating satellite photographs of your home, of your car, of your movements, pinpointing your geolocation, keeping track of your data, meaning what are your habits? When do you go for your bike ride? When do you walk to the store? When do you walk your dog? Where do you walk your dog? You can see that might be important if somebody wanted to, let's say, NATO Gladio murder you, right? Wouldn't it be good to have that kind of intelligence in your dossier? That's what these people are doing. This is a 100% military operation, and the enemy is you. You're the enemy. In other words, the sheeple. Because let's be honest, there are no great armies of the world. It's just about controlling whoever's left on this planet and dumping as much metamaterial on them by the minute so that they can all get traced and tracked with all the aluminum and barium and arsenic poison and titanium and lithium, etc., etc. Anyway, initially this Project Maven was designed as a training exercise. Hey, aren't they all, right? Called beta test. And a computer version using algorithms is now actively used in places like Yemen, Iraq, and Syria. Yeah, let me fill in some other places. Manhattan, New York, Los Angeles, Holmby Hills. Anyway, Project Maven, like I said, it's attributed to the Pentagon, like DARPA is, but I'm here to tell you it's attributed to NATO. There's only NATO forces. NATO controls all this artificial intelligence, and they're deploying it against you. You're the enemy. And they want to command and control your brain and your heart. And they want to trace and track you 24/7. Project Maven is what it's all about. Eric Schmidt would be all in on this because he's been the CEO of Google. And before that, he was the chairman of the parent company of Google, which is Alphabet. It's a portfolio of investments. YouTube, 23andMe, Eric Schmidt, Google. All those companies are a disgrace. They're a complete disgrace. Google is a military intelligence, trace and tracking surveillance platform. YouTube is a propaganda, poppycock, disinformation platform that promotes censorship. They have more Charlie Manson did it videos than any place on the planet Earth. It means you don't know who the judge was in the case, who's a drug dealer from Burma, and you don't know who the district attorney was, Evil Younger, who all the staff refer to as Evil Younger. He was a drug dealer from Burma during World War II. They plucked him out of the FBI at age 24 and sent him directly to Bangkok and Burma, where he worked with Charles Older, who was the judge in the Manson case. And Evil Younger was the district attorney. And they rigged the trial to avoid NATO Gladio kill teams operating in Los Angeles County, which they do to this day. Anyway, if it's on television and the story, you know it's not important. Let me talk to you about Siemens Corporation. It's a German manufacturing company, and they're involved with Project Maven. Of course, Google is, Lockheed, Nokia Bell Labs, Raytheon Missile Guidance System, because it's the integration. Project Maven is the integration of everything. It's the integration of surveillance of you, tracing and tracking you in real time, looking at your former travel habits so that they can do predictive programming of where best to take you out, in your bed or on a dog walk or on a bicycle ride, and everyone says, oh, he had a heart attack. Oh, his pacemaker didn't work. Oh, his insulin pump malfunctioned. See, all the casualties will not be COVID, and all the casualties will just be heart attacks, or what the media has now coined, the new term is sudden death syndrome. Oh, he's 16 years old, he died of sudden death syndrome. He's 16 years old and he's dead. That's perfect norm. It happens. Just like 33-year-old women die of manic episodes. That's what the coroner called Aaron Valente's death. They called it a manic episode. It took them 4 months to come up with this poppycock, balderdash explanation of how a 33-year-old woman who was very vibrant, very active, and having no trouble whatsoever turns up dead in the back seat of her Nissan Murano SUV in a Masonic dress on Bowes Lane, 7 houses south of Diablo Way. Siemens is in the mix. They have offices at Lawrence Livermore Weapons Laboratory. I'm sure they're at Los Alamos. I'm sure they do business with SRI, Stanford Research Institute, as well as UC Berkeley, Lawrence Science Laboratory, because they're everywhere. They're like poison oak. You just can't get rid of them. Artificial intelligence arms race. A military artificial intelligence arms race between 2 or more states to develop and deploy lethal autonomous weapon systems. This has a military acronym, LAWS, L-A-W-S, Lethal Autonomous Weapon Systems. That's the future of Gladio NATO kill teams. It'll be done by artificial, either a drone, a direct energy pulse, an LED light, disorienting you, and then blowing up your brain or giving you a heart attack. It'll be done via LAWS, Lethal Autonomous Weapon Systems. They're not going to send a kill team in to bayonet you. We're not going to do bayoneting anymore. We're switching over to the AI, to the Lethal Autonomous Weapons program. They're going to have robot dogs. They're going to have robot sheriff's deputies. They are going to have the helicopters, the drones. They've already got that set up 13 miles behind my head at Skaggs Island. They have set up helicopter pads out there for drones, as well as McDonnell Douglas Hughes helicopters and Bell 206B. And you could even land a Chinook helicopter out at Skaggs Island. No problemo. This is the new world, people. And you need to know what Project Maven is. Project Maven is the epicenter of everything that the military's been working on for the last 100 years. And they've been accelerating this program since 1995, which is going to call it 30 years. And the program has already been rolled out. It's not that they're going to roll it out. It was rolled out. And it was rolled out with vengeance during the COVID operation. So they can throw the switch anytime they want regarding your bank account and central bank digital currency. That can be thrown at any moment. But as you can tell, they're more interested in dumping metamaterials on us. They've been doing it for almost a year and a half now. I don't know when they're going to be done, if it's going to go on for another year or 2 or 3 or 4, if they're going to wait till 2030, which is the big reset, supposedly. According to the World Economic Forum, there's going to be a reset in 2030. The Swiss bankers and the Jewish managers and the Jewish anthropologists, they're in charge of how to use Project Maven. They're in charge of anthropology and the eugenics depopulation programs that are in play as I'm recording this.